हेलो सर।
Yes.
सर एकैछिन है, लेस देन अ मिनट है, एकैछिन सर माइक्रोफोन मिलाइरहेछ।
Okay, good morning, everyone. We are here for the first access session of OR1 for BUS 3002. Today, we will have the student-led seminar, which will where we will be discussing on the topic exploring winning strategies in a digitally disrupted VUCA world by digital-oriented strategies and driving digital transformation. I'll ask everyone to introduce yourself first, then you can start the discussion. You can start with Anisha or
Myself, Vikas Farka, my UNID is 194367737.
Hello everyone, this is Ansha Chapare, student of BVA L6. My UNID is 19436735.
My name is Palisha Tuladar. My UNID is 19436733.
My name is Saurav Khan. My UNID is 19436746.
I am Shirwa Tuladar and my UNID is 19436740.
Good morning and hello everyone. My name is Shine Pandit and my UNID is 19436742.
My name is Samiksha Tamang and my UNID is 19436739.
okay. Now you can start your discussion.
We live in a fast changing world. Technology changes the way we live, how we communicate with each other, how we create and gather knowledge, and even how we travel. The notion of VUCA was introduced by the US Army War College in 1991 to describe the more volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous multilateral world which resulted from the end of Cold War. For US military, VUCA meant that the opponent team can call it a war anytime and might need to respond quickly and efficiently to it. Unsurprisingly, today's business environment has changed in a very similar way. VUCA was subsequently adopted by strategic business leaders to describe the chaotic, turbulent, and rapidly changing business environment that has become the new normal. According to Kissinger and Walsh 2012 in their article Living and Leading in a VUCA world, the new normal in a business is real. The financial crisis of 2018, for example, faced losses and shutdowns, but at the same time, rapid changes marched, marched forward as technological developments like social media exploded, the world population continued to grow, and global disasters continued to disrupt lives, economies, and businesses. Moreover, when Donald Trump was elected as the president in 2017, he changed all the rules and protocols which shook the economy in a day.
VUCA world characterized by the attributes of volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. Volatility characterizes high dynamic and high speed for change. Uncertainty characterizes lack of predictability and great prospect for surprise. The word complexity characterizes by multiplicity for forces, confounding chaos and confusions, and the word ambiguity characterizes by haziness, high potential for misreading conditions. The common impression in VUCA environment involves outside the box thinking, which is not true, has had been contested by the recent literatures. In a VUCA world, the both experts and managers have said core activities uh, essential to driving organizational performance, like strategic planning, are viewed as mere movements in futility. VUCA condition reduce unstable and any efforts to understand the future and to plan responses. When leaders are left with little to do other than wring their hands, organizational performance quickly falls at risk. According to Doheny, Nageli, and Weig 2012, across many industries, a rising tide of volatility, uncertainty, and business complexity is rolling in markets and changing the nature of competition.
As my friend Saurav has talked about VUCA world in depth and its types, I would like to start with the first component of volatility. VUCA world, which is volatility. According to Wickring Ching in the Financial Times, published in 2013, volatility provides profit opportunity. The word volatile implies instability. Bennett and Lemon stated in Harvard's Business Review, published in year 2014, which stated that one of the signs of volatility is how unexpected and unstable a challenge is, but not necessarily hard to understand. In volatility, leaders understand the change and have sufficient information about the change. Kranjingberg 2014 and Gilman 2017 stated that volatility does not necessarily involve complex structure and a critical lack of knowledge or doubt about what outcomes may result from key events. The secret to dealing with volatility is understanding the opportunities and threat inherent in the situation. I'd like to provide a recent example of volatility, which was seen when how the slowdown in China's growth impacted financial market this year, and how those same global market behaved following the UK's Benix vote cited by Pandit ETAL in 2020.
I'll, hello. Yeah, so let's talk a little bit more about the V component of VUCA. As a research article done by two authors from University in New York define it as a relatively unstable change where information might be available and the situation is understandable, but change is frequent and sometimes unpredictable. Likewise, it can be said the same for the business world or the market as events have started to unfold in completely unexpected ways. It's becoming impossible to determine the cause and effect. The authors, Nathan and Bennett, James Lemonin, also further elaborate their work by saying that we already live in a world that's constantly changing, becoming more unstable each day, rather what we talk about, whether it may be for big or small change. It is also interesting to note that another article from Warwick Ching, which was written in the year 2013, mentions that volatility provides profit opportunity if a business house is well informed and swiftly reacts to the changes. For example, commodity price is often quite volatile, as jet fuel costs, for instance, have been quite volatile in the year 21st century. Mm, so authors Bennett and Lemonin state a solution, saying that to thrive in the business, agility is the key, as it's the swiftness that allows companies to be proactive rather than reactive. Agility is to be there for coping with volatility, as resources should be aggressively directed toward building slack and creating the potential for future flexibility. So building in slack and devoting resources to preparedness, for instance, to stockpile inventory or overbuy talent, as which might be expensive, but investment should be able to match the risk.
Adding on to Shine, VUCA is an acronym that stands for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. These are the combination of qualities characterized as the nature of some difficult condition and situation, whereas volatility is the quality of being subject to frequent, rapid, and significant changes. In volatile markets, for example, the prices of commodities can rise or fall considerably in short period of time, and the direction of trend may reverse suddenly. Like as the the COVID-19 market, the uncertainty brought us to the day where the economics is rising and falling like uncertain. There is no chances like surety the economy of this country will rise or fall. Uncertainty is a component of that situation in which events and outcomes are unpredictable. Complexity involves a multiplicity of issues and factors, some of which may be indirectly incorrected. Like we cannot guess what the market will go like with our research and some foundation also. And the ambiguity is manifested in lack of clarity and the difficult of understanding exactly what the market situation is.
Now I'll be talking about uncertainty. According to Bennett 2014, uncertainty is a component of that situation when the availability or predictability of information in events is unknown. So uncertainty often occurs in a volatile environments that are complex in structure involving unanticipated interactions that are significant in uncertainty. So Lemon 2015 stated that uncertainty may occur in the intention to indicate causation or correlation between the events of a social observer and a target. Situations where there is either a lack of information to prove why a perception is in occurrence or informational availability, but lack of causations are where uncertainty is salient. So in 2017, Johnson stated that uncertainty is not volatility. A volatile situation is one in which change is likely, but that change may come quickly and at varying magnitudes. An uncertain situation, on the other hand, is not so volatile. In fact, there may be no change inherent in it at all. Because uncertainty exists in the lack of adequate information, addressing it simply involves in obtaining information structurally by devoting more resources to boundary spanning activities as moving beyond existing networks, data sources, and analysis process to gather information from new partners and look at it differently. Information networks are created from many different sources, both inside and outside the firm.
Adding, prior, okay, let me. So prior to what my friend said earlier, I would like to support this and add a small example on uncertainty as the market is becoming more difficult to anticipate events or how uh, or it is become hard to predict how they will unfold. For instance, from Obama to Trump as America's president, or shocking news when Britain decided to leave the EU. Likewise, moving on with another example, would be another example in the business industry would be McDonald's and how it failed to target customers in India initially. With that being said, the food services they provide throughout their restaurants are also quite the same as being one of the biggest chain restaurants in the world. But is it the same? Did the customers in every country react the same way, especially India? The answer to that is no. According to a report published by Khanin in the year 2014 of BBC, it says that McDonald's had quite hard time operating in India as majority of Indians are vegetarians and cow meat isn't that popular regardless. So they did face some difficulties, but they later on changed their menu, the way they operate, and started being localized with the Indian menus. For example, mixing burgers with chicken or
Hello. Is sign video freezed or is it from just my side?
So it is free.
Okay, others can continue.
So now I'll be talking about complexity. Many interconnected paths forming an elaborate network of information and procedures, often multiform and convoluted, but not necessarily involving change. For example, moving into foreign market is frequently complex. Doing business in new countries often involves navigating a complex web of tariffs, laws, regulations, and logistic issues. A complex situation calls for a uniquely distinct response that is utterly separate from those necessitated by the other components of VUCA. This highlights the danger of not properly understanding and defining form challenges. Although effective in volatile situations, stockpiling resource is useless if a firm does not understand where best to allocate them in a complex environment. According to the research uh, by Huygens and Lander 2009, and it has consistently shown organizations that adapt themselves to match environmental change performs at substantively higher levels, whereas firms that maintain the past structures and processes in the face of a changing business environment are less effective.
Working internationally for a business may mean that they need to adapt how their business operates. For example, a business may sell an unregulated product in one region, but in another region, that product could be heavily regulated and taxed differently. To be prepared for leading in a complex environment, leader needs to be able to see patterns in what is happening with the bigger picture as well as being able to understand the details while being agile enough to adapt to individual market needs.
Talking about ambiguity, ambiguity is the last component of VUCA world. Ambiguity refers when the general meaning of something is unclear, even when an appropriate amount of information is provided. Ambiguity leads to the person assuming an answer and many things that leads assuming one race, gender, and can even leads to the class stereotype. It refers to the lack of clarity about how to interrupt something. According to generative transformation grammar, ambiguity is defined as expression which can accommodate more than one structural analysis. In ambiguity, the causal relationships are completely unclear. No no predient exists. It is a lack of clarity about meaning of an event. Both the unclarity and ambiguity exist in our culture today. Crystal in 1987 also thinks that ambiguity is a result of complexity in documents such as forms, uh, insurance policy, etc., which due also the complexity are then not filed incorrectly. Both the in ambiguity there is lack of clarity or awareness about situations.
Adding on ambiguity, more on Samik Salama. Ambiguity often the very business environment itself is ambiguous. When leaders are not clear about what a particular event or situation means. Like for example, the Federal Reserve the Federal Reserve, we know the government for Federal Reserve always funds the money to the bank. But before funding the money to the banks, the Federal Reserve must analyze the situation properly to give to the banks. For that, if the situation is very ambiguous, there can be sometimes a lot of mistakes and which may lead to economical destruction of the country also.
I would like to add about ambiguity. Uh, it refers to a lack of clarity about how to interpret something and the difficulty of understanding exactly what the situation is. So, Stewart stated that A situation is ambiguous, for example, when the information is incomplete, contradicting, or too vague to draw clear conclusions. So, more generally, it refers to a fuzziness and vagueness in ideas and terminology. The more ambiguous the world is, the harder it is to interpret. A symptom of organizational ambiguity, according to Kale 2018, is the frustration that results when classified accomplishments fail to add up to a comprehensive or enduring success.
VUCA Prime model developed by Bob Jonasson in 2007 proposed that the best VUCA leaders are characterized by vision, understanding, clarity, and agility. According to him, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity theory of the VUCA world is a fragile concept, whereas the vision, understanding, clarity, and agility theory of the VUCA Prime model is an agile concept. In VUCA Prime model, volatility can be countered with vision because vision is even more vital in turbulent times. Leaders with a clear vision can deal with the volatile environment changes such as economic downturns or new competition. Uncertainty needs clear understanding. To be effective in a VUCA environment, leaders must learn to look and listen beyond their functional areas to expertise to make sense of the volatility and to lead with vision. Complexity can be countered with clarity. Leaders who can quickly and clearly make better, more informed business decisions needs to be there. Lastly, ambiguity can be countered with agility, the ability to communicate across the organization and to move quickly to apply solutions.
So now I'll be giving introduction to digital VUCA world. Uh, Digital transformation is making its way into most common companies and industries, which in terms of VUCA is termed as digital VUCA world. In times of change, one frequently reads about the so-called VUCA world. It is clearly understandable that every company is facing these challenges, that is volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. But in order to prepare the world for the world of tomorrow, it is necessary to reduce the fear of these words and recognize the opportunities behind the um, VUCA world. We are experiencing rapid developments in the areas of production technology, communication, and mobility. Startups and creative companies are fundamentally changing the market, breaking new ground, and reinventing traditional business models. In this environment, VUCA have become almost normal. Some bases even go so far as to call VUCA the digital normality. Digital initiatives can make businesses well positioned to meet the VUCA world head on rather than having to respond to new challenges as they appear. The mere nature of how business is done makes digital initiative less susceptible, but certainly not immune to changes in the marketplace. Digital transformation is a requirement for success in the VUCA world. 80% of businesses, small medium enterprises to multinationals, from BTC to B2B, realize the strategic imperative of digital transformation. The modest fact is that 84% of all companies fail at digital initiatives, and more shocking, only 3% have implemented an enterprise-wide digital transformation, as said by Tharp in 2018.
Today's digital technology offers ways to connect, collaborate, and conduct business and build bridge between people, process, and product. It touches the cores of all the business function, especially the way which organizations are managed and mentored. Digital technology change existing business model and continue to extra terminate pressure on traditional ecosystem by distributing the that blind people, process, and product. The key the key driving focus of digital business are the extremely in execute of for innovations, uh, the IT and the profitable of digital and mobile technology are encouraged and interrogate of business. Unfortunately, we are not longer living in VUCA world. We are living in the world where vocabulary, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity, and digital distributions. VUCA, how companies that reposition themselves to take the advantage of the newly uh, related by developing transformation strategy and track to overall to function of full growth engine with flip while other folded. According to the Jogi Lopez, by 2020, more than 7 billion people and business are, and at least 30 billion devices will be connected to the internet, with people, business, and things communicate and even noxalated with each other. A new world has become into being.
Now I'll be talking about digital disruption. So, digital disruption is a shift in market trends caused by innovation in technologies and business models. The emergence of innovative digital technologies and business models disrupts the market markets by changing the business environment as it impacts existing products and services. Digital disruptions makes for a more competitive market but builds stronger communications bridges from business innovators to customers. Digital disruptions is dangerous to marketplace as it tears down barriers between competitors and their customers, as digital innovation is about strategically aligning with customers to introduce them to looking outside the product experience. This is completely opposite business strategy to the traditional methods of obtaining and serving customers. An example of this is the way Amazon, Netflix, YouTube disrupted the media and entertainment industries by modernizing the way content is accessed and sold to customers and monetized by third parties.
As my friend Sirwa talked about, introduced us to the digital disrupted VUCA world, I'd like to go in depth and talk about how it really entered in 19th century. Lode in International of Current Research, published in 2016, stated that the era of strategic management has evolved from ad hoc planning to business policy. Competitive analysis, strategic advantage, profit, etc. were the key methods for looking ahead strategically. But now business is more like sports. Top seeded tennis player can lose round one match of Grand Slam competition to the youngest pro players. This is not a VUCA. This is nothing but a VUCA. Everything has become unpredictable. MC Nutley has emphasized in 2015 the VUCA terminology was used in 1990 and was derived from military vocabulary. It's an acronym developed by US military after the collapse of the Soviet Union to describe multipolar world, which stated as volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. As per King Sir and Watch article published in 2012, the VUCA concept was brought home by many Americans after 1911, but really gained currency in the private sector with the onset of the financial crisis in 2008 and 2009, when companies and organizations all over the world suddenly found themselves faced with similar turbulence in their business environment and subsequently in their business models.
Now I'll be talking about the history of digitally disrupted VUCA world in 20th century. The idea that disruption would occur as a symptom of technology first arose in 1995. The authors Bauer and Kristen introduced the idea that technology would unpain the existing economy in what they call disruptive technology. Examples of these types of disruptive technologies have found many sectors from phones to photography to cloud computing. According to Borman and Marshall, the new technologically driven VUCA environment is shifting from an individual centered economy to an everyone to everyone. In their survey of 1,100 businesses and government executives, as well as 5,000 consumers spanning 15 countries, it was suggested that rapid iteration of technology will fragment value chains, industries will converge, and new ecosystems will emerge.
The 21st century is a digitally enabled borderless VUCA world. Kenichi Omai, a Japanese consultant in his book Borderless World, predicted the aspect of globalized world years ago, and this is precisely where the world is heading. International borders are becoming fluid, and trade is now moving on the internet seamlessly across borders. Currencies are now neutral to the effect of forex on the internet, operating 24/7 at lightning speed with global economies opening. We live in an independent, interlinked economy, and business variables are becoming more volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. In the 2019 Global Human Capital Trend Survey, 80% of the respondents agreed that the 21st century has imposed new requirements on business leaders. Among these respondents, 81% cited the ability to lead through more complexity and ambiguity, followed by leading through influence, managing remotely, managing a workforce that combines humans and machines, and leading more quickly. The elements of VUCA are not new, but the modern world has amplified them. With globalization and innovation, leaders are more challenged by continuous change. 20th century tools for a structured and predictable world are becoming less capable. In the 21st century, it is said that disruption is going to be digital in nature. Digital world is moving very fast. VUCA is not only used as an outcome of disruptive innovation, but also a driver of it. Moreover, businesses are set to benefit from the modern technology. It is stated that using modern technology to business leads greater profitability than doing business in the traditional way. As per Porter 1980, modern technology will help business achieve competitive advantage and other various advantages. Similarly, according to Porter and Miller 1985, investing on modern technology will have a positive impact on business in a long term. In 2020, the coronavirus has enabled companies to appreciate the benefits of digital transformation. After all, the digital pathway is what kept the companies running to the extent possible and maintain their operations and engage customers. At the same time, companies should not forget that digital transformation does not simply involve using online collaboration tools or providing employees the option to work from home. Digital transformation should be a whole journey leading companies to rethink and optimize their strategy, business models, operation systems, and culture.
As previously, we have talked about what VUCA is, what VUCA world really is, but to know more about and to simplify what VUCA world is, I would like to provide an example. Kodak can be the one of the example of being a failure by not adopting the VUCA world and its strategy. As per Raul Chaudhary in the ResearchGate article published in 2019, which stated that in the 1970s, Kodak acquired 90% of US film markets. It made many remarkable contributions in the field of films, rolls, and cameras. Kodak even invented the first digital camera in 1970s. But instead of marketing the new technology, the company hit back for fear of hurting its lucrative film business even after digital products were reshaping the market. According to Will's JCC Honors Journal published in 2012 due to factors like disruptive technology and inability to anticipate the wave of incoming digital era and other wrong management decisions like focusing on film making even when new digital era is ushering, etc. Kodak failed. Harrison ETA and Research Journal of Finance and Accounting published in 2014 emphasized that inability to compete with the nearest rival Fuji film was one of the defining factors for its downfall. The net sale declined sharply from 2005 onwards, and the company was ultimately filed for bankruptcy in 2012. Such a dynamic and fast changing world of today is being described as a VUCA world by many economic and political observers.
The other example of VUCA world can be the election of US. The US elections reinform the truth of VUCA world. There is a little bit doubt that we are living in a high voltage, uncertain, complex, and ambiguity times. The state choir was unturned into a strategy fashion in US election, teaching us all that we are living in uncatched water repair with unknown consequences. We are living in the world of great uh, contact creation. On one hand, on the one hand, the world is witnessing exciting development in technology and innovations, global governance, and process in important aspects of human development. On other hand, we are witnessing a host of challenges for mass migration to growing inequality to ongoing conflict and growing set of urgent environmental issue. The election of Donald Trump has created a deal of uncertainty for America and the world. It is important to remind ourselves that we are living in the multi-shareholder world where a range of actors from big business to civil society and that can be that can have a profound impact on creating the future and we all want it.
Our strategy is one of a company's most important assets. It lays down the long-term ambitions of the company. Without without a strategy of defending the VUCA world, the competitive advantage is gained. And what needs to be done to achieve this is a solid strategy to defend the VUCA world. How long term should a company strategy be? In a world characterized by volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity, a long term strategy without the strategy to defend the VUCA world is a risky as a company can be disrupted out of their industry in a space of a few years. In 2011, Nokia was still the world's largest producer of mobile phones. Yet a year later, the phone division went bankrupt because it was not very active for defending with the strategies of the coming VUCA challenges. In its short to mid-term strategy has clearly failed without defending the VUCA strategy. The same goes for several iconic brands such as the often cited demise of Kodak, Blockbuster, and Toys R Us, which have swiftly left the stage due to not being alert to raise of a new age and competition of world.
Now I'll be talking about first winning strategy, that is how has artificial intelligence changed the VUCA world. So the concept of AI arose over 70 years ago, although the inception of the first prototypes did not arrive until 1943. It was during World War II, which brought together mathematician Alan Turing and neurologist Gray Walter, that AI found its steps. Walter designed one of the first robots, and Turing developed the Turing test, setting the standards for for intelligent machinery. Since then, AI has steadily gained ground with science fiction driving much of the conversation in the 1950s through AI's influence in 2001. According to Lake Ullman 2017, VUCA situations challenge both human and machine intelligence. They stated that people can respond in healthy and unhealthy ways to VUCA situations. For example, perceiving change as a challenge versus change as a threat. Stated by Enoy 2018, artificial intelligence explored how humans are potentially highly adaptive and, in many instances, and can thrive despite unpredictable conditions. According to the predictive processing account of the mind, humans can reduce uncertainty through their actions in the world through updating their beliefs and by their ability to discard beliefs when they are unhelpful.
Artificial intelligence is making a quick transition from future technology to one that surrounds us in our daily lives. From taking perfect pictures to predicting what we can see in a next email, artificial intelligence is being incorporated into product services we use every day to transform our lives for better. Of course, all the technologies that are digitally driving transformation in the enterprise, often the people out AI is the most disruptive among all. AI is putting people out of work, whether it is shifting the work for more productive tasks because automation takes the grunt work. Such discussions are clearly important as they miss out the larger transformative story. After all, the digital transformation takes place at every organizational and industrial level.
Artificial intelligence methods have been developed over the course of more than a half century. The influence has enabled and flowed, but now through additional which universally connectively and inexpensive instrument, AI is enable, enabling scientific technology. AI allows independent robots profitable for some simple reason. This robot will be inexpensive as the number of robotic continues to increase. The cost of senior is decreased. The global senior of robot making market already access $16 billion. Here is the problem. Human brain is not a computer, and likewise computer, although capable of intelligence based action, cannot reproduce the connection and intelligence of our brain. Artificial intelligence heterograms and trained with known data. Therefore, the acquired formally rules cannot appreciate and formulate regional decisions during uncertain and unknown times. Artificial intelligence method has been developed over the course of more than a half century.
Talking about the digital technologies switch to
I'm
digitally
sorry
topic
to interrupt,
vocabulary.
but before moving on, I would also like to oppose the view of AI. And I'm sorry to interrupt, but that was inadequate information. But I still disagree with what my friends had to say on how they supported the first winning strategy. Mm, according to Liu, who wrote on his information on statistics in the year 2020, saying that despite AI's potential to optimize the way many industries operate, AI is feared to actually force to replace human labor in some industries. For example, automotive and assembly and telecom industries worldwide are predicted to undergo the biggest workforce cuts in the next 2 years due to the adoption of AI technologies. This highlights the somewhat polarizing effects of AI to human jobs. Likewise, while we also relate this with the term of VUCA world, is it beneficial for the business world though? As according to Collins and Frank in the year 2013, they mentioned that AI made changes to the human world, but capacities to deal with VUCA sometimes fail to do so productively. Whereas to some cases, machines also lack the capacities altogether. According to a view presented by Laukunen et al. In the year 2018, they also say that to understand how brains and mind respond to decision making in VUCA situations, it is useful to have basic idea on how brains work. And they explain it saying that there is no doubt, for example, the way we perceive it and experience the world in different way that it actually is. Nevertheless, according to Dean Puri, who wrote in his article in the year 2017 that wave of today's AI is based on very primitive and models of our brain. Sensors do not yet mimic how we perceive. Computer memory cannot duplicate how we remember, and current if then AI rules cannot fully duplicate how we act either. So there's the problem. A human brain is not a computer, and likewise computers, although capable of intelligently based action, cannot reproduce the cognition and intelligence of our brains. AI algorithms are trained with only known data. Consequently, their acquired if then rules cannot anticipate and formulate rational decisions during uncertain to or unknown circumstances out in the world of VUCA, whether internally or externally.
Uh, Adding on to technology and AI, the key driving forces of digitally disrupted business are the seeming inexhaustible capacity for innovation, the consumerization of IT and proliferation of devices and mobile technologies, the the convergence and integration of marketing, ICT, social business, etc. From a technology perspective, the digital business goes beyond the famous thought platform and the evolution. We are witnessing in technologies like cloud, the Internet of Things, mobile, big data, etc. As technology like mobile, social cloud, and big data rapidly converge and morph, a digital business strategy that leverages digital technologies to transform the consumer value equation and drive competitive advantage becomes a paramount requirement. You cannot have business transformation and growth without a well thought out, digitally distorted business strategy. According to Gartner, digital business incompetence will cause 25% of business to lose competitive ranking by 2017. Digital disruption is real and growing globally. No company and no industry, no locale will be immune from its impact.
I like to start my example by saying that I do not support with what science said about the opposition of artificial intelligence, and I like to support few of the points which Bika stated about the good things about artificial intelligence and success of the company. I like to provide an example of few companies which has adopted artificial intelligence and has succeeded. The adoption of artificial intelligence is resulting in a world which is smarter and innovative. Few examples of AI technological innovation simplifying our lives can be of route and traffic mapping by Google Maps, price estimation of rides by Uber and Lyft, friends tag suggestion at Facebook, spam filters in our email, recommendation for online shopping, and cancer detection, which has been stated in the journal by Sony ETEL in 2019. I like to shift my focus on Uber, which is a taxi service provider, which, as per Duby and Banster and Switchin article published in 2017, has operated in more than 70 countries with around $16 billion invested in the company since its inception. The size of its expansion is illustrated by the estimated valuation given it of 70 billion, making it the world's most valuable privately held technology company. According to Matthew and O'Teal Case Journal, published in 2017, Uber uses artificial intelligence for fraud detection, risk assessment, safety processes, making spend and allocation, matching drivers with its riders, route optimization, driver onboarding, and just about everywhere else it possibly can be used. With hundreds of millions of customers, Uber does a lot of customer services. As per Mahapatra and uh, Telikoti research in 2018, customer service incidents get handled best when they get routed to the most relevant customer service agents, which Uber uses artificial intelligence to do it. Artificial intelligence also help agents with potential responses to customer inquiries, an area where Uber has seen 10% improvement in its efficiency, plus concurrent jumps in customer satisfaction. This shows how the adopt of artificial intelligence in Uber has helped its company succeed.
Um, Like, so despite some theories and statements that I just heard earlier, but somehow I still do disagree with the beliefs about connecting AI to the VUCA world, and as so I came with some of the resources I went through as well. So putting that aside, I would I would like to add another topic to our discussion with a new title about the second winning strategy, which is driving into the digital strategy. According to Dave Sheffy, who wrote report on defining digital strategy in the year 2017, he says that it is a strategic plan formulated to achieve specific goals through a digital medium, as marketers define digital marketing strategy in terms of different communications to support goals of increasing online leads and sales by exploiting its resources. So much in a broader sense as well, according to a journal presented by Ang Liu et al. Digital transformation or strategy is presented as the integration of digital technologies and business processes in a digital economy. Likewise, more accurate recognition under the influence of digital transformation had been implied by another research paper, which is done by Hess et al. In the year 2016, implying three organizational aspects. The first aspect from the outside with the improvement of the client's experience and the change of his entire life cycle. On the inside, second one, the impact of business objectives, basic leadership and hierarchical structures, and in general, when all business sections and opportunities are influenced, usually leading to completely new business models, which is the third one. So why does it matter when you talk about the VUCA world out there? As we've seen, COVID crisis rapidly reshape and both what and how of companies' digital transformation is and does, according to Corn Ferry Swift says. A business may take on digital transformation, but several reasons, but by far it is most likely reason to that they have to have survival issues. I mean, they are thriving to survive in this current situation, and spending priorities reflect this reality. According to May 2020 International Data Corporation IDC worldwide digital transformation spending guide, spending on the digital transformation DX of business practices, products, and organization continues at solid pace despite challenges presented by the COVID-19 pandemic. IDC forecasts that global spending on DX technologies and service will grow to 10.4% in 2020 to 1.3 trillion dollars. That compares to 17.9% growth in the year 2019, but remains one of the few bright spots in the year characterized by dramatic reductions in overall technology spending as per IDC notes.
I will add upon some key aspects driving digital transformation and some of its factors. So, increasing uses of smart devices, improved connectivity, and demand for high end user experience are among some key aspects driving the digital transformation trend, taking services to the customer doorstep. Industrial organizations around the world are entering a period in which new digital technologies enhance people and processes to an extraordinary degree. Um, Peter Reynolds has mentioned some factors of digital transformation. They are teamwork and culture. As digital culture is based on a foundation of sharing, AI will be an enabler for process excellence. Next one is knowledge transfer. As AI-based knowledge systems drive new capability and competency as well understood talent allows project teams to leverage their greatest assets, decision making, as by universal automation, big data, AI, and closed loop systems allow people to focus on abstract and complex decisions. Workforce performance, as by positive individualized performance assessment influence organizational change and drive continual process improvement and innovation.
I'd like to provide few of the points about the opposition of digital transformation, how it's not good for the market. As per Hicks and Rawat in 2005, researchers, experts, and pioneers have recognized that transformation is a complex process in terms of people, process, making it challenging tasks. Prior research shows that high failure rate of digital transformation projects. McKinsey, the US-based management consulting firm, highlights that 70% transformation failure projects, as per which demonstrate the most organizations lack this competency stated by Google 2018 and Busey ETAL 2015, due to which how to accomplish digital technology transformation is one of the challenging tasks for the senior management of the organizations. According to Ferenit in 2019, the potential for business value generation through digital technology transformation is promising, and worse still, digital transformation initiatives are failing. In 2019 alone, according to International Data Corporation, estimate that speaking on digital transformation will exceed the earlier projection of US $2 trillion to about US $3.8 trillion, of which spending on digital transformation technologies will account for 40% of all IT spendings. Hence, investment in IT continues to represent a significant proportion of capital outlay, adding another layer of difficulty to the already existing organization hurdles in making a case for investment in transformational technologies.
So I'd like to talk about the good thing about this second winning strategy. Uh, Leaders adapt into catalyzers. That means traditional leaders take responsibility, inspire, and enable their team. In the VUCA world, they must go beyond just directing operations to initiating and sustaining change. Catalyzers initiate direct and increase the velocity of transformation while leveraging disruption. They challenge commonly entrenched assumptions about the fear of change and loss of control. For success, the leadership team must understand and make transformation a priority. Uh, Secondly, loving the customers and the data generated. Most studies on digital transformation highlight the critical importance of paying attention and responding quickly to customer experiences. It is labeled customer first and customer is king, but it is empathy that underlies true success with the connected consumer. It translates to obsessively listening to his or words, feelings, values, and actions that generate data points on the needs and interests of a voter, patient, consumer, or client. The objective is to personalize the message, build a loving relationship, and offer a user attractive product to make it easier to commit to, adopt, or buy. Uh, Data requires performance metrics to drive decision making, hence, bringing the helping companies, eh, hence, this winning strategies helps the company to thrive towards success.
Now, I'd like to add upon some example of company that has adopted second winning strategy and their success story. Starbucks can be taken as an example of a company who has adopted the second winning strategy as Starbucks' digital strategy and its innovative use of data analysis in particular remain at the forefront of its growth and continue to pay off. However, the company's true competitive advantage is its exclusive customer data from Starbucks Rewards loyalty program, which with its more than 40 million users will be the key of their continued success.
The other example of the second winning strategy can be Domino's Pizza. By listening the feedbacks of the customer and embracing adopting digital permitted Domino's to be crowded the largest pizza company in the world and to finally pass its old ritual Pizza Huts. Therefore, there is no surprise that today fourth fifth of Domino's sales can comes from digital challenge. To arrive where they are today, Domino's changed the company entire though, transforming it from the fast food business into a company interviewed with a programmed higher digital market and other tech personnel. The entire uh, corporate situational was structure was also received and the focus shifted towards digital sale and advertisement. It was pure that that everyone at the top from the board of director to the CEO was on board. As a result, Domino is an e-commerce company that helps to sell pizza. This practice helps to make the user experience more fun and less furiousness. Domino's has also take an internet in self-driving car and delivers robots to develop an automatic delivery systems.
If leaders have learned one thing from the VUCA world, it is that they have no control over it. The accelerated pace of technological change is posing significant challenges in the shape of digital transformation and digital disruption. To maintain competitive edge and succeed, organizations are fast realizing that a digital strategy is important. With the arrival of digital disruption, a great number of large companies have undergone radical change or even been fully dissolved. In 2011, Nokia was still the world's largest producer of mobile phones, yet a year later, the firm's phone division went bankrupt. The same goes for several iconic brands such as Kodak and Blockbuster, which have swiftly left the stage due to not being alert of the rise of new age competition. Even the area of journalism has been disrupted from the way readers are consuming news to the revenue models disrupted by the likes of digital native firms such as BuzzFeed and other non-journalism players such as Facebook or Google. However, few companies such as the New York Times have managed to adapt to the changing conditions and transform their operating models not only to survive but to grow and surpass the best digital natives. Technology has transformed the way news is produced, delivered, and consumed around the world. From disruption in a business model to changes in readership and access, digital platforms make journalism industry more vibrant and more fragile. Disruption in news media has also changed the way people think and react. It engages people to adapt to new ways of communication. It also leads to the formation of new ideas and expectations and requires a journalist to be more innovative and creative. It requires businesses to stay updated and ahead of recent trends and be desirable and competitive for their audiences. This creates an impact on the stages of planning, executing, and managing a communication strategy.
Um, so prior to my friend what she just talked about the disruption in news media. So I'd like to add a little bit more information to that. Whether we believe it or not, media has played a great role in today's life of ours. Not only it provides us with the news, but helps us connect to different worlds and continues widespreads the information throughout the world. According to an article written by Sunil Gupta in the year 2018, he says that the disruption and transformation has been getting a lot of hype, and it is for a good reason. As digital technologies have disrupted entire industries, and incumbents have often struggled in this new world. Typical approaches used by legacy players, such as using technology to improve efficiency, encouraging business units to do digital experiments, or launching independent units to spur innovation, have met with limited success. Using rich case studies and rigorous research, it shows how the rules of business have changed and why it is no longer enough for firms to be better or cheaper to gain competitive advantage. So likewise, according to Andrea Mantovani, who says that in his article, the pace in business world today is greater than our ability to cope with it. And now as we look through the lens of VUCA model, we can look to the leaders of companies for insights on how they have thrived in today's rapidly changing world. According to an article from FIPP, it mentions that there are several characteristics common to those who are best able to navigate VUCA world, such as individuals should be lifelong learners with ability to flip problems into advantages. Some of the famous examples mentioned by FIPP are the disruption of famous market leaders like Netflix and Blockbusters, and advertising Craigslist like I Googled it. As well, uh, Scott Anthony, managing partner of InnoSight and a frequent contributor to Harvard Business Review, recently noted that it has been a great 20 years for US media innovators, with hundreds of $billion created by companies that are helping dem- democratize content production and distribution, while developing new ways to connect advertisers and customers, with Google leading the way, along with Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, TripAdvisor, and Yelp now have combined market capitalization of over $650 billion, principally by generating revenue from selling advertising. So traditional media companies were slow to embrace new business models that are based on larger numbers of smaller transactions, while many could predict digitization was going to transform the industry. Too many leaders clung to the interaction of legacy system and historic revenue systems. Anticipating change and embracing it are two significant VUCA traits that successful companies have to master.
Developed to clarify a fast-paced, gradually unstable, and rapid changing world, the concept has since migrated into business school and corporate halls to frame strategy and leadership development in the 21st century. Because VUCA is a leadership model, we can look to the leader of the companies for insight in how to success in today's rapid world, changing world. Uh, there are several characteristics common to those who are who are the best to cross a VUCA world. Individuals should be lifelong longer lifelong learner with the ability to flip the problem into advantage. They see connection where other don't and learn the from nature. Motivates for balance. They understand rapid prototypes and smart move organizations, making it fun and easy for terms to achieve success. They they are motivated by important expensive events where personally or global, and then they have a sense for nurturing shares assets and knowing how to bring resources together. With hindsight, we will look back to the technology, economic, and demographic factor, the forecasting, the for, the further to fortress some of the most profound media disruption in the last decade.
I would not like to agree with the point what Samiksha says, and I'd like to provide good things about the impact of disruption in news media. Carmi and Walter has emphasized in Journal of Management Information System in 2015 that disruption has gone a long way with the rapid use of technology as it has transformed the way the news is produced, delivered, and consumed across the world. The news media had adapted itself with the pace of this evolution. From the latest cricket score updates, interviews, budget, weather, or opinion polls, disruption has changed the business models because of the rapid use of technology, social media gadgets, automation of processes, or innovation with respect to product and services. According to Denter in 2012, of research grade article stated that disruption in news media has also changed the way people think and react. It engages people to adapt to a new way of communication. It requires business to stay updated and ahead of recent trends and be desirable and competitive for their audiences. It also creates impact on the stages of planning, executing, and managing a communication strategy. It also creates happiness among the customers as Amazon constantly utilizes big data and modern technology that it has been more or less template for what an online shopping experience should be which other brands and company have followed but has not been able to get as successful as that of Amazon.
So I'd like to provide an example of a company who has adopted this strategy. Netflix and other streaming services are continuing to disrupt the entertainment industry. They have all but killed physical video rental stores and are slowly allowing more and more customers to cut their cable subscriptions. OTT options like Hulu and Pluto TV emerged seemingly out of nowhere as a low cost alternative to conventional subscriptions, and when they caught on, customers couldn't help but think about their media in a new way. Therefore, Netflix and other streaming company adopted the third winning strategy of seen as a more success from the past, but now more due to the evolution in technology.
I would like to add the example of the company who had adopted third winning strategy and their failure story. A disruptive pattern was absorbed in the telco industry, which had adopted third winning strategy with the rise of cellular technology in 1990s. Companies such as Motorola and Nokia, BlackBerry, or Palm rose to riches and which the arrival of iPhone in 2010s, a true game changer that redefined the dominant design in the industry. They all faded away through an industry shakeout, which was the biggest failure story.
Industries,
Like,
industries which are conscious
I'm
to,
sorry to
uh,
interrupt
w-
again, but
yes, go on.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, go on, go on.
Yeah. So as we further proceed, I would I would like to say that so far we've talked about VUCA and its impact on world business has and so many other relations that VUCA has created. And from the adjustment, and it is easy for us to analyze that term VUCA undoubtedly plays a crucial role for business entities. And it can be noted that first VUCA can be seen as the two sides of the same coin, which is the positivity and negativity. As there isn't just VUCA, it's what we have connected them with so far, which may be the AI digital driving strategy or media disruptions. So no matter what critics say, I would like to add my view that VUCA is crucial in today's 21st century, and especially how it's playing role in current pandemic. According to according to a research article published by Doni Nagali and Wig in 2012, they say that across industries, the rising tide for volatility, uncertainty, and business markets is changing the nature of competition. So let us once again shortly review what VUCA actually means, and let me look at a brighter side for each of the words full form of VUCA. So the first component, volatility, the nature and dynamics of chains and the nature of speed of chains forces and chains catalyst is actually replaced by the word vision. As we paint a picture of the future you want together as a compass and for orientation in order to confer meaning and spark motivation and to forge internal and external identity effectiveness. The second component is uncertainty, the lack of predictability, the prospects of surprise, and the sense of awareness and understanding of issues and events, which is actually replaced by understanding of interconnections, making them transparent, reflect on the context, and thinking and planning about strategically from the start and start working with results from forward and backwards. The third component, which is complexity, which says the multiplex of forces, the confusing of issues, no cause and effect chain, and confusion that surrounds organization, is replaced by clarity as simply focus on what counts and what it's really about: trust, transparent connections, and processes. The fourth and which fourth and the final one, which is ambiguity, the haziness of reality, the potential for misreads, and the mixed meaning of conditions cause and effect confusion, is actually replaced by adaptability, agility, and so what it means is scrutinize hierarchical management techniques, promote a consistent culture for making decisions and accounting for mistakes, interact transparency with objections, facilitate innovation, and build up resilience. As these what were these four components, which has been replaced by the VUCA World dot organization, as I just went through. So in order to survive, we do not know whether a future is headed, so we take it all in our stride, whether it may be an individual, business, market, or country. The pandemic has taught us that it is not the time to be saying that companies will strike such as types of goals after COVID ends, but we look at it in a way that always has been a VUCA world out there, and it will always be a VUCA world out there. So one should get proactive rather than reactive and act to the current situations on how to achieve goals while we tackle the VUCA world.
The industries which are really conscious to digitally disrupted VUCA world are reflected by the blending of digital material and biological systems, changing the global context from the use of technology to one where the lines between the digital and material becomes blurred. Furthermore, according to Weir et al., the industry field device, machines, production modules, and products are comprised of cyber physical systems that are autonomously exchanging information, triggering action, and controlling each other independently. The possibility of this decentralized integrated environment connecting billions of people via technology with unparalleled processing capability, unrestricted storage, and access to knowledge are limitless. For example, the decentralization of this technology has manifested in product, service, and business cropping up like Uber and Alexa, blending artificial intelligence in ways that are accessible to a broader audience. Uber utilizes machine learning a subset of artificial intelligence to create a seamless peer-to-peer ride-sharing experience for their drivers and riders. This technology has created a multitude of transportation opportunities for individuals as well as business for drivers. Another example of readily available technologies connecting people, communities, and countries in rapidly evolving and dynamic world is Amazon's virtual assistant, Alexa, an internet-connected sensor-enabled smart home technology that takes the user's command to respond vocally to them, aiding people in the day-to-day tasks such as turning off and on lights, getting weather information, and shopping, as we have seen different advertisement is of as well.
The volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity in today's business world is the new normal, and it is profoundly changing not only how organizations do business, but how leaders lead. The skills and abilities leaders once needed to help their organizations are no longer sufficient. Disruption in the digital world occur at a phenomenal rate. They have the power to impact the way entire industries operate. All actors, from regulators to policymakers, governments, and digital leaders, need to proactively analyze the risks involved and come up with solutions for mitigating them. In 2018, there were stories about Facebook's security breaches, privacy policies, and data sharing. Millions of users were exposed, and serious concerns were raised about soft underbelly of the digital economy. These are the types of issues that digital leadership needs to tackle.
Now, I'd like to conclude our today's debate by saying leading in the future will revolve around managing challenges in a business environment that is highly disruptive and periodically violate, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. Technological advancement in artificial intelligence, robotics, sharing platforms, and the Internet of Things are fundamentally altering business models and industries. These changes are taking place at unprecedented speed. Leaders at all levels need to develop the relevant competencies and skill to successfully adapt to new realities in the disruptive VUCA world.
Is it done?
I would like to add something. According to Mark Bates, VUCA makes strategic development and execution hard, but it does not reduce the relevance of strategies. A winning approach combines rigorous strategy development with agility. In conclusion, developing and executing a winning business leader. A winning strategy is a leader's main lever to motivate and mobilize stakeholders to achieve the firm's overreaching objectives such as profit and people and planet related objectives. A winning strategy guides the firm employees and external partners to make winning choices and execute them as well. We believe that our approach is well suited to help executives take on this challenge. The VUCA world, the developing and executing our winning strategy for company winning choices is really necessary.
Okay. So first of all, congratulations for successfully conducting this SLS and this learning set A. I would first like to give feedback or individual feedback from Pralisha. Yes, you have cited the materials and also have a very good analysis that you have made. Yes, you have supported the issue and a lot of statistics were present. You started the debate. The only thing that I want to say is please do not read much from the slide. Yes, you can take the reference, but read less from the screen. Overall, it was a very good analysis. Thank you, Pralisha. Then
Thank
I
you,
come
sir.
to Saurabh, who has also collected a lot of materials. He has cited it. Some of the new topic he started when the group finished the certain topic. He started new topic like complexity. So just a suggestion, if you can use a laptop for these kind of debate, then it would be better. It looks more formal since it is the accessed assessment that is taken by the university, as well as read less from the screen for you as well. And overall, very good analysis. So keep it up. Anisha, yes, very for you as well. Lots of different sources you have mentioned. Good examples of Kodak and all. You have contrasted the view and put forward logic to what you have contrasted as well. Very good. Just one thing. Yes, you have concluded as well. That is very good. And just one thing: do not take particular name when you are contrasting the views. Okay, just say that the friend, one of my friend has said, or just as what do you contrast? You say, do not cite the name. Okay. So overall, very good analysis and good examples. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sign. Sign also has a very good analysis and critical analysis, I would say. Very good examples. Okay, so he contrasted the view of artificial intelligence and how it is replacing the human workforce. Okay, and he also questioned, is it beneficial for the business world as well? Yes. Very good thing. Yes, you were taking reference of the notes. Please, like you were analyzing very good. So critically analyze, keep it up, keep up your good work. Next, because yes, good examples, supported the issue presented by the friend. Very good. And read less from the screen. Same for you. Okay. So, Shirva, yes, you started the new topic, uncertainty, started the success strategy with AI. You have talked about the impact of AI, which was very good, and also cited the things that you have seen. Uh, Samiksha, yes, you also started the new topic. You have talked about lots of facts, given the example of US election, cited the source. Okay, also started the discussion on digital disruption. Very good. Just you most of the time it seemed that you were reading from the screen, so avoid that. Okay, overall, very good. Sorry, very good analysis by all of you. I know you have put a lot of effort, but just want to say that it still looks like a mini presentation. Do not make it like a presentation, make it as a debate. Yes, it has improved a lot. Okay, thank you for that. So talking about the overall perspective of this SLS, yes, you have first started with the VUCA itself. Okay, and given very good examples of McDonald's, Netflix, Uber, Kodak, Starbucks, Domino's Pizza, Nokia, and etc. etc. Then you talked about the digital transformation, and also Samiksha was also started the topic, but we did not go much on it. The enterprise-wide digital transformation could have you could have talked about it also. And then the winning strategies were discussed. You talked about AI, data analysis, Internet of Things, big data, and blockchain. Okay, and so and another is you talked about digital commodification. You talk about how digital transformation can lead to the losses as well. So what were the critics on those things? Okay, and you concluded that VUCA is a new normal. We have to deal with it. So you have disrupted, contrasted the digital, but if you have talked about digital transformation, but importance of strategic management in the digital transformation. So what is the sorry? What is the importance of strategic management then? Okay, what is the contribution of AI in strategic planning process? Okay, so you could have discussed more on it, as well as strategy, not technology, drives the digital transformation. So you could have talked more about strategy. Yes, we have good examples. You have talked about technology, but you could have focused that strategy and not technology drives the digital transformation. But a very good analysis, good examples, good facts, but most of you were reading from the screen. Please avoid it, and please do not make it, I have already said, a mini presentation. Let's make it as a debate. So thank you so much. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
And
you,
also
sir.
fill up the
Thank you,
self-assessment
sir.
form and mail it to me in my email address. Okay.